Hi everyone, my name is Karen and welcome back to my channel, Rather Be Reading. I'm here today to do my February wrap up. I had a pretty decent reading month this month. I read a total of 10 books, which I read 11 last month, slightly shorter month. So I'm pretty happy with 10 and I am currently like 5 or 6 books ahead on my Goodreads reading challenge. So I'm pretty happy. So let's jump straight in. Although first off, I do just want to say I apologize. All the books I read this month I got from the library or off NetGalley, so I don't have physical copies. I only have one physical copy with me at the moment, so I'll insert pictures that you guys can check out what they look like, but yeah, sorry. The first book I read this month was Mirrormount's Ghost by Elizabeth Hall. This is one that I got from NetGalley, so thank you Lake Union Publishing. Now, the first half to like 3/4 of this book was really good. It was like close to like a 5-star read for me, but then I hated the ending and I really hated the epilogue. So I ended up giving it a 3.5 stars. This is about a clairvoyant girl in like France in the 1800s. And like I said, the first half to 3/4 was really enjoyable, so it is kind of worth checking out, but like I said, I didn't enjoy the ending. I mean, other people might. It's like a dark, haunting book, so if that's what you're into, then I would say check it out. The next book I picked up this month was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is actually a reread for me. I originally read this, I'd say about 9 years ago, but I wanted to check it out again now that I'm kind of older and see how I enjoyed it now, and I loved it. I love Elizabeth Bennet. She is just so relatable, so human, so sassy. She's just sassy. I just love her. So many moments as I'm reading it that I was just like, oh, Lizzie. I love her, and I don't know if it's that, because I read Sense and Sensibility last month, and I don't know if it's that I just recently read some Jane Austen, so therefore I didn't find it as heavy as I did when reading Sense and Sensibility, but I just didn't have any problems with this one at all. I loved it. 5 stars. The third book I picked up this month was Radio Silence by Alyssa Cole. This is another NetGalley read, so thank you Karina Publishing. This one came out on, when did it come out? Feb 2nd, so this one's out now. This one is listed as being a new adult sci-fi, but it's definitely more romance than action, and it is a bit insta-lovey. Like, at the beginning, this isn't spoiler, this is like in the first, like literally in the first pages, in the first chapter, our character has just survived like this life-threatening situation. Her best friend is lying gravely injured. She's got dead bodies of her attackers lying around her, and she's noticing how attractive her savior is. Like, really? Yeah, it was just a bit insta-lovey for me. And yeah, it was just like a little cliched, romantically speaking. Like, there was a lot of blushing and denying feelings for each other. Everyone knows that they're, you know, into each other. So, a bit cliche. I did still enjoy the romance for the most part, even though it was a bit insta-lovey and cliched. Like, they did have really good chemistry. But, I mean, if you really don't like insta-love and don't like romantic cliches, then you might not enjoy this. This did have some really great diversity in it. The main character is African American, it's got some Asian characters, and it has a homosexual character. So that was really great. Another problem that I had with it was that the sci-fi kind of element, I mean, it's surrounding that North America has lost all power. There's no power at all, and they're trying to survive this world with no power. They don't know what's happened. Why is there no power? And we weren't given any hints at all, to what has happened. And I understand that the characters don't know what's going on, so therefore you don't know what's going on. But there was just no hints given or no kind of steps kind of taken towards them finding out what's happened, and that kind of annoyed me. But I did enjoy it overall. I gave it a 3.5 stars, and I definitely am interested in picking up the next book in the series when that comes out to kind of find out more about what's going on. So yeah, check it out if sounds like something you'd be into. The next book I picked up was The Murder on the Links by Agatha Christie. This is the second book in the Hercule Poirot series. I read the first book back in December and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I didn't enjoy this one quite as much. I did still really enjoy it. I gave it a 4 stars, but I didn't love it quite as much as I did the first one. I just really love these like twisty, intricate mysteries that Agatha Christie writes, and I can't wait to read more in the series. After that, I picked up Walking on Trampolines by Frances Whiting. This is another one from NetGalley, so thank you to Gallery Books. And I believe this one was published on the 8th of February, so this one's out and available for you to read. This is actually by an Australian author, and it was brilliant. I really, really, really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. It's kind of just about 2 girls who are best friends growing up in a small town in Australia. I can't really say too much more without giving stuff away, but that's kind of what it's about. And the prologue in this, it was brilliant. Like, I was immediately hooked. It was like 2 pages long, and I was just like, read it and I was like, oh, what? Like, oh my god, amazing. Like, what's happening? And I was just kept reading. I just wanted to know what was happening. I also really, really loved how Frances Whiting captured friendship and how important friendships can be to your life, and how sometimes friendships can be even more important than like a romantic love. I just really enjoyed that. I found the way that she wrote it was really beautiful, and she also spoke a little bit about mental illness kind of in family and dealing with that, and I just really enjoyed that as well. And just overall, I just loved this book. As I said, 5 stars. Definitely check it out. The 6th book I picked up was Lucy Springer Gets Even by Lisa Heidke. This is another book by an Australian author, but unfortunately I didn't really like this one that much. About 3 chapters in, and I could already tell you exactly how the book was going to end. So when that happens, I mean, what's the point really? So this was moderately enjoyable, but nothing special, so I gave it 2.5 stars. My battery's gonna die. Gotta get through this quickly. The next book I picked up was Waiting for April by Jamie Loren. This is another one from NetGalley, and I believe it comes out on February 12th. And who is published on this one? Thank you, Momentum Books, for approving me for this one. If you guys watched my February TBR, you guys know that I was quite excited to pick this one up. So, yes. As I said, I'll insert a picture here. So, first off, can I just say, this cover. Am I right? It is gorgeous. Like, that is the first thing that drew me in on NetGalley and made me, like, click into it to look into it more, because the cover is just beautiful. And the premise of this book just sounded amazing. This is about a guy, Scott, and a girl, April, and every time April dies, Scott becomes immortal, and April dies a lot. She's never lived past her 18th birthday, and in each kind of new life, Scott keeps finding April and kind of trying to break the cycle. So, I mean, that sounds amazing, right? This had dual perspectives from both Scott and April, which I really, really enjoyed, because I felt like it gave you a more like well-rounded view of their relationship, which I really enjoyed. I did have some problems with the historical aspects of this book. They've been, like, their first life, I believe, is at 1729, and so kind of those portions, like, in 1729, I just found, like, not, like, really historically accurate to the time. Like, from what I know, it just didn't seem accurate to me, so I had a few problems with that, and there were a few aspects of the ending that I found a little bit confusing, but this is the first book in a trilogy, so I'm guessing that those things, like, questions will be answered in the future books, and I can't wait to read the next book. So I gave this one a 4 stars. Now, next I actually DNF'd a book, and I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, Karen, you said that last month, and you said that you'd only ever DNF'd a book once before. You're doing it again. What's happening? I know. Now, the circumstances surrounding this one are a little bit different. I actually might not have DNF'd this if it hadn't been for the circumstances. I had this one out from the library, and it was due back. It had a request on it, so I couldn't renew it, and I had to kind of finish it that day. And this book is over 500 pages. It's like 540 pages or something like that. I pushed that day. I got to about page 250, 260, something like that, and I just really wasn't enjoying it. It's a memoir autobiography about a woman who, it's called A Piece of Cake by Cupcake Brown. I don't think I said that. Who kind of grew up, you know, in poorer circumstances, and was in foster care after her mother died, and just her life about overcoming that, you know, after she becomes addicted to drugs and things like that. But I just really wasn't enjoying it. The language was really hard to, like, kind of get your head around, because she is writing kind of as she would have been speaking when she was living that lifestyle, and that was just kind of hard to get into, and I just really wasn't enjoying it. If I'd had longer, like, I didn't have to take it back to the library, I probably would have finished it, but I just couldn't push myself to read another 300 pages in that day of a book I just wasn't enjoying. After that, I picked up Nowhere to Hide by Sigmund Bauer. This was another one from NetGalley, and this one came out on March 1st. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, this one pissed me off a little bit. I'm pretty sure this is the second book in a series, and that really, really annoys me because I would never read a second book in a series without having read the first books. But it doesn't say anywhere that this is the second book in a series. It just doesn't say that anywhere. I looked on Goodreads, I looked up on Fantastic Fiction, I tried to find it on the author's website, I even looked on the publisher's website, and I just couldn't find anything about that. But they kept referring to these previous events that they called the Dead Man's Switch, and then when I had a look at his list of books by this author, there's a book called Dead Man's Switch, so I'm pretty sure that is the first book and this is a sequel. And most of the problems I had with this book probably would have been resolved by having read that book, because to me the characters just didn't seem fleshed out, and so, I mean, like I said, that would have been resolved if I'd read the first book. And I also had just a little bit of a problem with that. It's about these three guys, young teenagers, who all come from this really, really, really tiny island. It's like the only boys of their age from this island, and yet they're all geniuses. Like, that just didn't seem realistic to me. So overall, I just didn't really enjoy this that much, and I ended up giving it a 2-star. After that, I picked up The Secret Life of Evie Hamilton by Catherine Elliott. This was enjoyable. I ended up giving it a 3-star. I actually found quite a bit parts of it quite amusing, which was good, but it was too long. It's like over 500 pages, and just for kind of like a chick lit style book, it's just too long as far as I'm concerned. And the ending was all like kind of tied up in this nice little bow, which just doesn't seem realistic to me. But overall it was enjoyable, so I gave it a 3-star, like I said. Oh, and I do feel like the title of this book is a little misleading. The Secret Life of Evie Hamilton. I was expecting this book to be about this woman kind of leading a secret life to some extent, but that's not really what it's about, so yeah. Apologies if the angle has just changed. My battery just died, so I've just swapped to my backup battery, so apologies. Getting back into it, the last book I read this month was Disappear Home by Laura Horwitz, so thank you to Albert Whitman and Company for approving me for this one. This is another one I got off NetGalley, and this is another one that is published on March 1st. This is about a 15-year-old girl, Shoshana, I think her name is pronounced, and she and her younger sister and her mother are trying to escape this like hippie commune and to escape her abusive father. This was okay. The writing was like a little bit so-so for me. Some of the dialogue just didn't seem really realistic. It also felt like the book was building up to this like particular climax, and we just never really got there, so that was a little bit frustrating. So overall it was okay, but I felt like it could have been better executed, so I gave this one a 3 stars. And that's all the books that I read this month. Let me know what your guys' favorite book was that you read this month. My favorite book's probably a tie between Pride and Prejudice and Walking on Trampolines by Frances Whiting. Let me know if you guys read any of the books that I read this month, or if you've read them before, you've got any opinions. Let's talk, guys. Comment. Let's chat about books. So yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe. And that's all I've got for you today. Bye, guys.